Affairs of the Republic of Kenya, Ambassador Raychelle Omamo, the State Councilor and Minister for Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China, His Excellency Wang Yi, Cabinet Secretaries and other dignitaries present from the Republic of Kenya and the People's Republic of China, distinguished participants, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen. We have just come out of a bilateral meeting between the People's Republic of China and the Republic of Kenya. It is my singular honor to invite the CS Foreign Affairs to be able to speak to you. Welcome, Excellency.
Colleagues, cabinet secretaries, my colleague, His Excellency Wang Yi, State Councilor and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China, your distinguished delegation, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. What I propose to do is to read a statement that will summarize and encapsulate the discussions that we have had this morning between delegations from the Republic of Kenya and the delegation from the People's Republic of China, led by His Excellency Wang Yi. Thereafter, I will give the floor to my colleague to also make a statement, and then we will then come back to you to conclude this press briefing. So if you'll allow me to read, I begin as follows. Today we are honored and delighted to host His Excellency Wang Yi, State Councilor and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China, who is undertaking an official visit to Kenya from the 5th to the 6th of January 2022. The visit comes very early in the year and is a testament to the commitment by our two governments towards fostering and deepening our bilateral relations for the mutual benefit of our people. As you are aware, Kenya and China share a long history of bilateral collaboration dating back to pre-colonial times. Our diplomatic relations are underpinned by common values of equality, mutual trust, mutual benefit, and win-win outcomes, dating back many years since the establishment of diplomatic relations at the dawn of Kenya's independence. Our relations have continued to deepen under the Strategic Comprehensive Cooperation Partnership Framework, which has led to high-level exchanges between both sides and bilateral cooperation in virtually every social economic sector. This was quite apparent to us today as we held discussions with the ministers who joined us in our discussions. We found that the areas of collaboration were vast, they were deep, and they were essential for the furtherance of development in Kenya and also for progress in China. Under the framework of FOCAC and the Belt and Road Initiative, development cooperation between Kenya and China continues to grow from strength to strength. As a result, China has supported Kenya's national development agenda through extensive infrastructure development, which has raised the stature of this country as a regional transport and communications hub. The SGR stands out as a pivotal flagship project of the BRI. We have just concluded our bilateral talks, which were characterized by very cordial and constructive deliberations. The discussions revealed a mutual desire to deepen relations and cooperation, especially in the 9 program areas that His Excellency Xi Jinping, during the 8th Ministerial Conference of FOCAC, announced in Dakar, Senegal in November 2021. We deliberated widely on the impact of the COVID-19 situation globally and our joint efforts to combat the disease, as well as to consolidate economic collaboration between the pandemic and the post-COVID-19 period. As you may know, China was one of the first countries to come to our aid in our quest to manage the pandemic. We take this opportunity again to appreciate China's unwavering support in the fight against the pandemic, which came in the form of donations of 200,000 doses of Sinopharm vaccine and medical supplies and equipment. Our discussions also focused on the implementation of the outcomes of the 8th Ministerial Conference on the forum between China and Africa and our attendant cooperation held in Dakar, as well as ways in which we could further cement the comprehensive strategic cooperation partnership between Kenya and China. As you may be aware, during the 8th Ministerial Conference of FOCAC, President Xi Jinping announced a wide range of proposals aimed to support Africa, including an additional 1 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines to Africa, with 600 million being via donation and 400 million being via joint production. He further pledged $40 billion in financing focused on fostering Africa's economic growth for the period 2022 to 2024 to be administered under 9 programs. In our discussions this morning, which touched on some of these cooperation areas under the 9 programs, we signed 6 agreements to amplify them, and we also agreed as follows. In the area of cooperation in health, China agreed, I believe, to donate 10 million doses? 10 million doses of vaccine under the planned 1 billion additional doses of COVID-19 vaccines to Africa. And we thank you very, very much for that generosity. We also agreed to further discussions on how to support this level of donation through the provision of cold storage facilities and joint ventures in vaccine production and capacity building of medical personnel. Under the Poverty Reduction and Agricultural Development Initiative, China donated 12,000 tons of rice for relief efforts for families that have been affected by COVID-19, and we agreed to explore further cooperation in agricultural value addition, capacity building, and trade facilitation for Kenya's agricultural products. In the area of trade promotion, both sides acknowledged the steady rise in bilateral trade and acknowledge the huge potential to increase export trade volumes and value through addressing both tariff and non-tariff trade barriers in order to address the trade deficit that is now in favor of China. We signed an MOU on the establishment of a working group that would look into the issues of tariffs and non-tariff barriers to Kenya-China trade and to fast-track and increase exports from Kenya to China. Both sides also concluded and signed 2 protocols to facilitate bilateral trade, particularly in the export of avocados and aquatic products from Kenya to China. This is an extremely important protocol that will really facilitate and accelerate access to markets of these two products, and we thank you very much for that. Under the promotion of bilateral investments, the two sides lauded the expanding investment relations between the two countries, noting that China is one of Kenya's leading sources of foreign direct investment. We agreed to work together to promote investments from Chinese enterprises in the areas of agro-processing, textiles and apparel, leather processing, footwear, iron and steel and machinery, furniture and wood, electronic assembly, auto assembly, construction, pharmaceutical, and other areas. In terms of digital innovation, we discussed collaboration in big data strategy, ICT hardware and software development, e-government, service delivery, cyber and information security, and building capacity and technology transfer. And we then signed an MOU on strengthening investment and cooperation in the digital economy. On green development, we agreed to pursue further discussions on collaboration and technological transfer. In the area of capacity building and people-to-people exchange, we agreed to increase and uptake for capacity building opportunities and lauded the existing robust people-to-people exchanges between our two countries. And finally, in the area of peace and security, we agreed to pursue further discussions and to work together in the furtherance of peace and security globally and in our region, and to strengthen our cooperation at the United Nations Security Council. I thank you for those deliberations. I thank you for the time that you spent with us, Excellency, and for reinvigorating and refreshing and recalibrating the relationship between China and Kenya. And we thank you so much for your visit and for coming along with your colleagues to Mombasa. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam CS. It is now my pleasure to invite His Excellency Wang Yi, State Councilor and Minister for Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China.
Distinguished media friends, it's nice to meet you. According to 32 years of tradition, we have now come to Africa. With our actions, we showcase that China values China-Africa friendship, and we're committed to giving top priority to Africa. We are an old friend and a partner of Africa, even though we are challenged by the pandemic. We are coming here as scheduled, and we remain true to our initial mission. That is a testament of our friendship.
In China's diplomacy, there is a tradition of 32 years. There is a tradition of 32 years. That is the first must be to Africa. With our concrete actions, we demonstrate China highly values its traditional friendship with Africa, our commitment to keeping Africa as a priority in China's diplomacy, and our readiness to always be Africa's good friends and good partner. Despite the challenges posed by COVID-19, we have come as we promised. Come rain or shine, our original aspiration stays true. That is the running theme of China-Africa friendship.
肯尼亚是中国在非洲的全面战略伙伴，是中非共建“一带一路”合作的示范国家。在两国元首的战略引领下，中肯关系已经成为中非团结合作、共同发展的典范。我刚刚同外长女士还有其他的部长先生们，就中肯的全方位的合作、深入的交换意见，达成了很多新的共识。我完全同意刚才外长女士所做的总结。我们希望在两国全面战略伙伴关系的框架之下，在4个方面加强和深化我们的伙伴关系的建设。
Kenya is China's comprehensive strategic partner in Africa. and a leading country in our Belt and Road cooperation with Africa. Strategic guidance of the two heads of state of China and Kenya, our bilateral relationship has become a fine example of solidarity, cooperation, and common development between China and Africa. Just now, I had in-depth discussions with Madam Foreign Minister and other ministers from Kenyan side. We had a discussion on our multifaceted and all-round cooperation. A lot of common understanding was reached, and I fully agree with the assessment Madam Foreign Minister just made. We do hope that under the framework of our bilateral comprehensive strategic partnership, we will continue to strengthen and deepen our partnership in the following 4 areas.
一是做坚定相互支持的伙伴，我们将毫不动摇地支持对方捍卫国家主权和民族尊严，支持对方维护自身的正当合法权利，支持对方探索符合本国国情的发展道路。
First, partners of firm mutual support. We will continue to unswervingly support each other in defending sovereignty and national dignity, supporting each other in safeguarding their own legitimate and lawful rights, and support each other in exploring a development path that suits conditions on the ground.
第二是做加快发展振兴的伙伴。这次访问期间，我们签署了多个合作文件，决定继续加强基础设施建设、贸易投资合作，支持肯尼亚加快实现工业化和现代化。
Second, partners for faster development and revitalization. During this visit, our two sides signed multiple cooperation agreements and decided to continue to step up our cooperation in infrastructure building, trade, and investment. We support Kenya in realizing industrialization and modernization at a faster pace.
三是做促进中非团结的伙伴，双方决定继续推动中非的整体合作，共同建设新时代中非命运共同体。
Third, partners for China-Africa solidarity. China and Kenya have decided to continue to promote overall cooperation between China and Africa and to jointly contribute to the building of a community with a shared future with China and Africa for the new era.
四是做维护区域和平的伙伴，我们就非洲地区的形势，和非洲的热点问题进行了沟通。我们将在联合国安理会等平台密切的协调，为促进地区的和平稳定发挥更大的作用。
Fourth, partners for peace in the region. We had close communication on the regional situation and hotspots in Africa, and we will continue to have close communication and coordination at the UN Security Council and other platforms. We will continue to play an even bigger role for peace and stability in this region.
各位朋友，肯尼亚是我这次非洲之行的第2站，此次到访非洲主要有3个目标。
Friends, Kenya is my second stop in my trip to Africa this year, and I have come to Africa with 3 main goals.
一是我们非洲携手彻底战胜疫情，世界正面临奥密克戎病毒的新一轮的冲击。作为非洲的朋友，中国绝不会袖手旁观。习近平主席宣布再向非洲提供10亿剂疫苗，这一最大规模的援非计划已经开始执行，大批疫苗正在跨越山海，源源不断地运往非洲需要的每一个角落。今天我们已经宣布将根据肯尼亚需要，再向肯尼亚提供1000万剂的疫苗。我们一定会同非洲的兄弟姐妹们站在一起，直至取得最终的胜利。
First, China will stand firmly with Africa and join hands in ultimately defeat COVID-19. The world is experiencing a new round of impact of Omicron virus. As a friend of Africa's, China will never sit idle. President Xi Jinping has already announced another 1 billion doses of vaccines to Africa, and this largest scale of assistance plan to Africa is well underway in its execution. A large amount of vaccines are being transported across the mountains and seas and delivered to every corner of Africa where there is a need. Today we have announced that we will provide another 10 million doses of vaccines to Kenya. We will stand firmly with our African brothers and sisters until the final victory against COVID-19.
第二个目标是加快落实中非合作论坛的成果。1个多月前，中非合作论坛第8次部长级会议胜利的召开，习近平主席宣布了中非务实合作的9项工程。那么，中肯双方今天签署了一系列协议，就是9项工程在肯尼亚的早期收获。我们愿意同非洲伙伴加强对接，撸起袖子，加油干，让会议的成果全面落地，那么造福并惠及非洲各国的人民。至于所谓非洲债务陷阱的说法，这并不是事实，而是别有用心的炒作，更是那些不愿意看到非洲发展的势力制造出来的某种话语陷阱。如果说非洲有什么陷阱的话，那就是贫困陷阱，那就是落后的陷阱。中国愿意同所有对非友好的国家一道，帮助非洲加快消除贫困，摆脱落后，实现疫后的复苏，早日走上自主、可持续的发展道路。
Second, we will work together to accelerate the implementation of outcomes of FORCAC. Over a month ago, the 8th Ministerial Conference of FORCAC was successfully held, and President Xi Jinping announced the 9 programs for practical cooperation between China and Africa. The multiple agreement of cooperation signed just now between China and Kenya are early harvests of these 9 programs in Kenya. We will continue to work with our African partners to synergize our efforts, to roll up our sleeves and redouble our efforts, so that the outcome of FORCAC Ministerial Conference will be fully and effectively delivered, so that these outcomes will truly benefit people in Africa. As for the so-called narrative trap, the debt trap, that is simply not a fact. It is speculation being played up by some with ulterior motives. And this is a narrative trap created by those who don't want to see development in Africa. If there is any trap, it is about poverty and underdevelopment. China would like to work with other countries friendly toward Africa and African countries to eliminate poverty and get out of underdevelopment and to realize recovery in the post-COVID-19 era and to contribute to Africa's pursuit for independent and sustainable development.
第3个目标是坚定维护中非双方的共同利益。面对各种强权霸凌和单边行径，中非双方有责任共同践行真正的多边主义，共同捍卫国际公平正义。中方愿意同非方加强在国际、地区事务当中的协调合作，维护好联合国为核心的国际体系和国际关系的基本准则，维护好发展中国家的正当的权益，推动国际秩序朝着更加公正、合理的方向向前发展。
And the third goal of my visit to Africa this time is that we will work together to firmly uphold the common interests of China and Africa. In the face of various acts of power politics, hegemony, unilateralism, China and Africa have this responsibility to jointly practice true multilateralism and to jointly defend international justice and fairness. China would like to step up coordination and cooperation with Africa in regional and international affairs and effectively safeguard this international system centered around the United Nations and the basic norms governing international relations. Together, we will also effectively safeguard legitimate rights and interests of all developing countries, and together we will facilitate the development of the international order toward greater equity and fairness.
谢谢。
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Now, Excellencies, we have planned that we would have a really interactive session that we are going to invite as many questions as possible. Unfortunately, I'm getting a signal that the Excellencies are late for their next engagement. However, we would like to give at least one chance for our colleagues from Chinese media and one chance for our colleagues from media based in Nairobi so that you can ask your questions. Please, maybe Kenya.
Thank you. Michael.
Your Excellency, the State Councilor and Foreign Minister of China, Mr. Wang Yi, a couple of quick questions for you. My name is Duncan Merere, I work with Reuters and the news agency. What's your message?
Excuse me, just ask one question, not a couple, just one.
Okay. They're very short ones, Madam CS.
Please ask one question.
Okay. Right. So what's your message to people who will look at the outcome of the FOCAC meeting in Dakar last year, where we saw China pivoting towards the softer areas of cooperation, boosting trade, health, as opposed to what we saw in the last decade, where China was spending billions of dollars at infrastructure on the continent, in various economies on the continent. What's your message to people who think maybe that shows a shift between the relation between China and Africa? Are you still committed to that economic cooperation? Thank you.
路透社记者，我的问题是在去年，也就是1个多月前，在达喀尔举行的中非合作论坛第8届部长级会议上，我们感受到似乎中非合作的重点有了一些变化。在过去几十年，中国在非洲投资了几十亿，用于基础设施建设。那么今天我们看到，中国更注重同非洲的贸易和卫生健康合作。这是不是意味着中非合作重点的一个转变？中方是不是仍致力于推动非洲的经济发展？谢谢。
这很好的问题，我要回答你。
This is an excellent question. Let me answer the question this way.
中国和非洲的国家的合作，我们叫做发展中国家之间的南芒合作，是兄弟之间的相互帮助、相互支持。所以中国有个原则，我们不是自己要做什么，而是根据非洲的需要，我们来做什么。所以中国所有的对非的合作，都是根据非洲兄弟姐妹们你们的需求，来制定我们的合作的计划。
In China's cooperation with Africa, it is South-South cooperation among developing countries. It is mutual help and support among brothers and sisters. In China's cooperation with Africa, it's never about what China wants to do. It's all about what Africa needs. In all the China-Africa cooperation programs, we design the programs and implement the programs in light of Africa's needs.
那么过去很多年，非洲国家更需要的是基础设施建设，因为基础设施建设是发展经济，那么的一个基本的条件。中方响应了非洲国家的需求，我们在基础设施方面，那么向非洲各国都提供帮助和支持。你看到现在非洲国家很多的铁路、桥梁、公路，那么确实都是中国来帮助修建的。我们尽了我们作为一个朋友的义务。
Over the past 50 years or so, China devoted much of its cooperation in helping African countries developing its infrastructure. That is simply because infrastructure is the very foundation and basic condition for economic development. We did this out of the need of African countries, hence we offer our support and help in this area. As you may have noticed, in African countries there are railways, bridges and roads that China contributed in construction, and that is an obligation or help from a true friend.
那么现在非洲国家的需求在进一步的扩大，涉及到其他的方面，包括目前应对疫情的挑战，在疫苗方面的需求，包括卫生健康这个体系的建设，包括数字经济，包括绿色的发展，包括创新的科技合作等等，我们都表示充分理解。所以中非的合作已经从基础设施扩大到几乎所有的领域，那么这些都是符合非洲发展的方向的。所以我要告诉朋友的是，我们会继续在 非洲国家有需要基础设施领域加强我们的投入，同时我们也会在其他非洲兄弟姐妹有需要的领域来同非洲方面来加强我们的互利合作。总之，我们希望同中国和非洲我们实现共同发展、共同繁荣。21世纪应该是中国和非洲共同发展的世纪。谢谢您。
As we speak, the need on this continent is expanding. We have seen the need in response to COVID-19, the needs for vaccines, and the need for better development of health and medical care system, the need for digital economy, green development, and innovation. The list goes on. Infrastructure and a lot of all the other areas are China-Africa cooperation. We have been expanding our cooperation from infrastructure to many other areas and covering all the areas for Africa's development. And going forward, China will continue to increase input in light of Africa's need in terms of infrastructure, and in other areas, China is also ready to step up cooperation with Africa for mutual benefit. And our goal is for common development and common prosperity, as we believe that the 21st century should be a century of common development, China and Africa together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. The next question will be answered by the CS for Foreign Affairs of Kenya, and I give this opportunity to...
I'm afraid this question will be from our Chinese side to our foreign minister.
Okay, so...
Because I promised the lady from Phoenix.
Okay,
Could you please
proceed.
我们请凤凰的安雅。
您好，王国伟，我是凤凰卫视记者安雅。我的问题是关于近年来。我的问题是关于近年来非洲支教局势越来越动荡啊，引发了国际社会的普遍关注。那么1个月前，您曾在出席中非合作论坛达喀尔会议后，就是闪电访问埃塞俄比亚，然后新年首站又到访了欧内特利亚。昨天与鄂头总统会见时，也谈到了非洲支教问题。那么，请问，中方对非洲支教局势和促进地区和平有什么进一步的建议？谢谢。
With Phoenix TV, my question is about Horn of Africa. The situation here and the turbulence going on here has drawn international attention. And we have noted that State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang, after your attendance at the FOCAC Ministerial Conference last year, you visited Ethiopia. And this time, in your visit to Africa, the first stop was to Eritrea. Yesterday, you had talks with the president of the country, during which you also talked about the situation in the Horn of Africa. So my question is about what's China's view on the situation here in this part of the region and what China will do for peace in this part of the region.
肯尼亚也是非洲支教的重要的国家，那么我想肯尼亚方面也会关心这个问题，我愿意回答你的提问。
Kenya is an important country in the Horn of Africa. I believe your question is also of high interest to Kenya, and I'm ready to take your question.
非洲支教地理位置独特，发展潜力巨大，但是近年来热点问题激化升温，时而爆发冲突对抗。我认为这种现象完全不符合非洲支教各国人民的利益，再也不能继续下去了。为了支持非洲支教实现长治久安和和平繁荣，中方愿意提出非洲支教和平发展构想，支持这个地区的国家应对好安全、发展、治理三重挑战。
The Horn of Africa has a distinct geographical location with tremendous potential for development. However, in recent years, we have seen hotspot issues and flare-ups of conflicts and confrontations. Such a phenomenon does not serve the interests of people of all countries in the Horn of Africa, and such a situation should not be allowed to continue. To support the Horn of Africa in realizing long-term security and stability, peace and prosperity, China would like to put forth our thinking on peace and development in the Horn of Africa, to support regional countries in tackling challenges in 3 layers, namely security, development, and governance.
一是要加强印度对话，克服安全挑战。非洲之角国家人民应当摆脱大国地缘的争夺，坚持走团结自强之路，要通过平等协商，把地区的命运掌握在自己手中。我们建议地区国家可以尽快地召开非洲之角和平会议，就此进行深入探讨，形成政治共识，协调采取行动。中方将任命外交部的非洲之角事务特使，为这一进程提供必要的支持。
First, step up dialogue within this region to overcome security challenge. The countries and peoples in Horn of Africa need to stay free from the major powers' game and to be firm in pursuing unity, solidarity, and greater strength. It is important to have consultation on an equal footing and to take the destiny of this region firmly in their own hands. We suggest that the countries in this region may convene a conference on the peace of Horn of Africa, that in order to discuss in depth on this matter, to shape political consensus and to coordinate actions. China will appoint a special envoy of the Chinese Foreign Ministry on the affairs of Horn of Africa to provide necessary support for this process.
二是加快区域振兴，克服发展挑战。要做大做强蒙内铁路和亚吉铁路这2条主轴，同时适时向周边国家拓展和延伸，同时加快红海沿岸和东非沿岸的开发，形成2轴加两岸的发展的框架。那么加速构建产业带还有经济带，创造更多的就业和增长，提高自主发展能力，赶上时代前进步伐。
Second is to accelerate revitalization in this region to overcome the challenge of development. It is important to strengthen the trunk lines of the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway and Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway, and to expand these railways to neighboring countries in due course. At the same time, it is also important to accelerate the development of the coastline of the Red Sea and the coastline of East Africa, to shape a development layout of 2 trunk lines and 2 coastlines. And this is part of our effort to help this part of the region to accelerate the building of industrial belts and economic belts, to create more jobs and contribute to faster growth. This will also help this part of the region in enhancing its capacity for development on its own and to keep up with the progress of the time.
第三是探求有效途径克服治理挑战。我们支持地区国家探索符合自身国情的发展道路，加强彼此的治国理政的经验的交流，那么突破治理方面存在的瓶颈，用非洲人的方式妥善处理好各种民族、宗教和地域的纠纷，构建非洲之角团结、稳定、和谐的发展环境。
Third is to explore effective pathways to overcome the challenge of governance. We support countries in this region in exploring development paths that suits their conditions and to step up experience sharing in governance to break from the bottlenecks of governance. We support countries in this part of the region to properly resolve various ethnic, religious, and regional differences in an African way and to build a united, stable, and harmonious development environment in Horn of Africa.
作为联合国安理会常任理事国和非洲的真诚的伙伴，中方将深化“一带一路”倡议同非洲之角各国发展战略的对接，扎实的推进中非合作论坛9项工程在这个地区的落实，为非洲之角的和平与发展做出我们中方的努力，发挥中方建设性的作用。谢谢。
As a permanent member of the UN Security Council and a genuine, sincere partner of Africa's, China will continue to synergize the Belt and Road Initiative and Africa's development strategies. We will work together with African countries to implement effectively the 9 programs as announced at the recent FOCAC Ministerial Conference, to implement the Global Development Initiative
and to make China's effort for peace and development in the Horn of Africa and play a constructive role for this purpose.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellencies. Unfortunately, we have to come to the end of the session, but we thank you for the beautiful questions you have asked. At this juncture, I wish to announce that the Kenyan delegation will move to the next destination, while the delegation from the People's Republic of China will hold on a bit in the bilateral meeting room until they get a signal to move. Thank you so much, Your Excellencies. I appreciate it.